Okay, so this is my flashcard strategy. When I started using flashcards, it really changed the grades I was getting in school and my confidence in myself and kind of my whole post-secondary journey, which sounds like a lot, but honestly, I attribute my academic success to flashcards because I am not really someone who enjoys studying very much. Crazy as that is. I started using flashcards when I first was in community college, and that helped me achieve the grades that got me to the university I am at now, still using flashcards. I wanted to share today some of my strategies to make studying hopefully a little bit less painful and a little bit more effective. I was helping my sister with flashcards the other day. She had made some for her history class, and she had like 100 flashcards with like this huge paragraph on them, and it was like a few days before the test, and she was scrambling to make the flashcards and scrambling to study them, and I was like, wait, I don't do this, and I am not nearly as stressed as you. So I wanted to share a little bit of that today. So I have some notes written on my computer. Firstly is consistency in actually making the cards themselves. So every day after class, I will take maybe like a half hour, sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's a little bit more than that, just to write down all of my flashcards from that lecture. So I don't wait until before the test. I get those flashcards made in a Quizlet after every single lecture, and I keep on adding to that, and then I'll create a new Quizlet for each new exam. Second tip is to put the flashcards in the form of a question. So the flashcards should ask something like, you know, what is so-and-so's theory about this? Or what is historical relativism? Or when Nietzsche said this, what did he mean? Like, obviously I've been studying philosophy a little bit. When you put the flashcard in the form of a question, it really triggers that active recall. So you have to go into your brain and respond accurately to what the flashcard has asked versus just reading something and kind of talking randomly about it. That kind of leads into my third point, which is to keep the flashcards relatively straightforward. So ask a specific question and then try and answer it as quickly, or not as quickly, but in as few words as possible. So break up your longer cards into individual cards, and that's going to make you remember them better. It's going to keep you motivated to actually go back to doing the cards. Because if you have cards with like huge paragraphs on it, you're really not going to want to do it at all, and you're not processing that information as well. It just feels overwhelming and like you're kind of just spitballing when you're talking. So make them concise. Sometimes it's not always possible if you're describing a theory or something, but do the best you can to help yourself out as you're making them. Think about what you're going to want to respond when you're actually doing the cards. Number 4, I always have Quizlet open on my computer. So every single day, school day that is, I don't always do this on the weekends, but every single school day I'm doing my flashcards for at least 20 minutes. Usually it ends up being like an hour. So in between every class I will try and take some time to do flashcards, or after school I'll be like, okay, 20 minutes of flashcards. And if I can set that goal for 20 minutes, I know that I can do anything for 20 minutes. So I will go and just get that done. And then oftentimes I will just want to continue to finish out the set, or maybe get to like an even number. So I usually end up going longer than 20 minutes anyways. But if you can just have that goal for yourself, like every day I'm going to do 20 minutes of flashcards, you're really going to help yourself throughout the year. Making sure that you understand the information kind of as a whole. It's like more of a comprehensive understanding rather than just like cramming for 2 hours of flashcards before an exam. Like, I could not sit down and do 2 hours of flashcards. I just wouldn't do it. Like, that's so overwhelming looking at that and like a 2-hour time block in your schedule for flashcards. Like, don't do that to yourself. People always say this, but if you actually do a little bit every day, it really will help you at the end. Ah, yes. Okay, tip number 5. So the way you do your flashcards, read the flashcard as if it's a presentation. So I use my hands a lot. That helps me. but don't just kind of say it aloud to yourself and then like click, okay, that's fine. No, like look at the flashcard, read the question, and present it out loud as if you're talking to someone who doesn't know what you're talking about. So really try and explain the card, and this is going to challenge you to see if you really know the information that you're talking about, and not just like memorizing it, or not just like kind of just reading what it is, but you don't actually know. You can really actively recall what you're talking about and explain it, then you know you have a firm grasp. Also, don't flip the card over until you've explained as much as you can. Even if you don't know what the answer is, make like an educated guess or like a half-baked idea of something. Just explain what you can, and then when you flip the card over, obviously incorporate that information into your explanation. And this, even if you have no idea, like sometimes I'm doing French flashcards and I have no idea what the word is, but I just make a guess, and then the next time I get around to that flashcard, I remember it better than if I had just said, oh, I don't know, like flip it around. So you're going to retain the information better if you first make a guess at it. Let's see what else. Okay, so my strategy for before exams. So I hate cramming for exams. It stresses me out so much. So I always throughout the year try and have compassion for myself before an exam and how I'll be feeling, and I don't want to stress myself out. So usually a few days before exams, I will go through my entire deck, and depending on how many cards it is for each class, that will take me 1 to 2 days. I think for like psychology or philosophy right now, I have like close to 300 cards, and we only have 2 exams in the whole, anyway, I'm getting off track. Depending on how many cards you have, it's going to take you a few days. So then go through all those and make sure you're using on Quizlet. I love Quizlet, by the way. You don't have to get the paid version. I did just because I was really sick of the ads and it was really cheap. But I personally think Quizlet is the best. I know, like, I tried Anki or any of those other ones, and I just thought it was confusing and I didn't want to deal with that. So Quizlet has all you need. Make sure you click the check or the X. So if you know it, obviously click the check. If you don't know it, click the X. And so a few days before your exam, after you've gone through the whole deck, just do the cards that you don't know, the cards you've like clicked X on. And then the day before your exam, go through again and do any remaining cards that you still are unsure of. So that's really going to make sure that you have a thorough understanding of your cards, and you should do well theoretically on the exam, unless it's one of those teachers who asks like the most obscure random questions that were hardly part of the lecture, and then it's anyone's game. But this has worked really well for me, and it's got me to be like a straight A student. I've never had hundreds on tests before until I started using this strategy and really like nailing down, making sure I actually knew the information. Like, I don't know why throughout high school, I was like, I don't know how to study. I don't know how my friends are doing so well, because I'm like reading everything, but I don't even remember anything. Also, when you create flashcards, it makes your mind go through the information again, which helps you remember it even better. So after the lecture, when you're making your cards, it's like you have to remember the information you just learned, which I find is so helpful, because you're not coming back to it like the next day. You're refreshing your mind right after you've learned it. So it's like solidifying it into your brain instead of it just like shoop going out your ear. Anyway, I just thought of that, but I really hope this helps you. I wish you the best of luck on whatever exams or tests you have coming up where you have to memorize an extreme amount of information. I won't say that this is necessarily fun or easy, but it is simple and it is a good routine to stick to, just to kind of help yourself out throughout the year. So thank you for watching. Best of luck to you, and I will see you in the next one.